Hello, my name is Margaret Adelle, and welcome to a book tag. I haven't done one of these in so long. You do them a lot, but when you have a newborn in the house and you really need some easy content, they are perfect. And I was recently tagged in this by Cait from chapter Cait. I will put the link to their original video in the description below. So this is the Humbook Tag, which is essentially a tag where you get to rant/complain, and it's a little bit weird for me. I don't do a lot of ranting and complaining on my channel, but once I started watching their video and I started seeing the prompts, I was like, I have answers to these prompts. So they may not be fervent, but let's jump right into it. So the first question in the tag is, what kind of cover art immediately turns you off a book? Now, see, I actually kind of like stupidly kitschy cover work, or really, really bad cover art from the 80s sci-fi genre. There's just something so quaint about it. But the one kind of covers I just cannot get into are the early to mid 2000s style model on the cover, not photorealistic drawing, but a literal picture of a person. I am so glad that fell out of style, because they just always looked awkward, and I just always spent the entire time wondering how does a model book that gig? What were they thinking during that photo shoot? Do they get royalties from that? It just adds so many more questions to it, and it distracts me more than anything else, and they never look wholly realistic, which is weird because they're real people. But I much prefer the more stylistic, the more drawn versions, a whole lot more. The next question is also related to book covers. What do you hate most on a cover that is not related to design? So one of the other many things I get peppered all over a book cover, and that is, I really don't care about the recommendations from other authors, where it's this book is good, signed another major author in this genre, because half the time I don't know those other authors, and even in some cases I'm not the biggest fan of that other author's work, so it's not even really effective marketing. It's anti-marketing. And also, ever since I started doing more indie books where that stuff isn't really around, not to say that indie books don't have other authors that endorse their books, but it tends to be either in the synopsis on Amazon or inside the book as opposed to on the cover, which I really prefer more. I like a clean cover. I like it clean. It's just the image, the title, the author's name, and maybe first in the blank series. I like that so much more. Keep the covers clean and simple. When reading a synopsis, what makes you want to yeet the book across the story? Any hint of a love triangle. At this point, if you know what you're looking for, it is really obvious to see the love triangle in the synopsis, because both of the romantic rivals will be mentioned in there, and it's a young princess is made aware of this rebellion with this enigmatic, it's almost always the word enigmatic, rebellion leader, but also there's maybe another nobleman or a prince or a bodyguard or something, and you know immediately from that synopsis, love triangle between those two, representing the two halves of the journey she must take, and I inevitably will put it down. Honorary mention for any books that consider themselves YA, but then put on a not only for mature readers tag at the end of the synopsis, and I think that happens more in indie books than in traditionally published, because publishing is desperate to keep YA what it is because it is so lucrative. But I've seen that several times in indie books now, where it's YA, but meant for readers 17 years old and up. That's not YA. That's adult. And it bugs me. And half the time, even if I like the rest of the synopsis, I'll just ignore the book on principle, because that's not how YA works. What trope makes you want to scream into the abyss? Is this a hot take? This might be a hot take. Enemies to lovers. Cannot do it. It is so hard for me to do true enemies, as in opposite sides of a thing, hating each other for some ideological reason, to lovers. Don't like it. I don't like hatred a lot. I am a giant fan of friends to lovers, and I am learning to like rivals to lovers, but less the I absolutely despise you, and more the you annoy me rivals to lovers. I've learned that I can like that if it's written well, but the amount of time it takes for me to get from the point A where they hate each other to point B where they're in love, if it doesn't take a minimum of like 4 books, I'm not there. Like, I am a slow burn lover in the normal sense. To give me this take where it's like we're starting 20 yards away from the, you know, the start line for love. No, you can't finish that in a book or even 2 books. And so I'm not a fan. And I know that's kind of like a hot take because it's one of the most beloved tropes on the book internet, but I can't do it. I can't get into it. I almost never like believe in those relationships, and I almost never want them to be together. I actively want them to not be together, and that's not the point. What book induces rage the moment it is mentioned in your presence? It can only be one, and it is from so long ago. It is from the very earliest days of my channel, and I have been on BookTube for over 2 years now, but no book has infuriated me to the extent that Fearless Leader by Trisha Owens did. This was one of the first books on my Best and Worst of Indie Books series that I've long since dropped off, but it fetishizes gay men to the extreme. This is the book that gave me trust issues to the extent that if I see an MLM book with a female author's name, I will avoid that book. It could look cute. I see a female author's name, like maybe if it's really, really cute, I'll go look on and be like, okay, are they at least queer? Are we at least in the community? If they're straight, nope, bye. Like, no, not here for it. The worst part about this book wasn't just the fact that it was super fetishizing and every character that was male was either wanting to have sex with another man or like desperately, like that was all I thought about, or like actively homophobic. There was no in between. Was that the center point? The relationship that you are supposed to be cheering on throughout the entire series that naturally did not continue with. One of them attempts to rape the other. And this is supposed to be the relationship that gets together. Are you fucking kidding me? I ranted about that book. It is one of the few book rants I have ever done. I can count on my fingers the number of books I have rated 1 star on my channel in over 2 years. And this book is the basement. And I'm not gonna lie, part of the reason I wanted to do this tag so much is because I needed to get that out again, because every time I think about that book, it makes me angry. I hate it so much, and I don't like hating things. But yes, this is the reason why I can do maybe like queer, female, or non-binary authors writing like queer romances, especially MLM, but cannot do straight women writing MLM anymore. This book destroyed me even years later. What could someone say when introducing a book to you that could break your trust in them? And this one was also obvious. Whenever someone is suggesting a book to me and they say something to the effect of, oh, you have to get through the first book, or oh, you have to get through X amount of chapters. No. At no point in a book should I be forcing myself through the pages for the sake of the plot. Now, obviously, series can get better as they go on. In fact, in some of my favorite series, my favorite books are like books 3 or 4, but the first book still has to be good. It still has to be worth something to continue. This idea of, I'm going to read this book I actively am not interested in because book 6 gets good, or reading this book that half of it I'm not interested in, but like chapter 15 gets good. No. It's the weirdest piece of it's the weirdest suggestion to me, like, ever. Like, if you're introducing this book to me, you should be hyping it up to the effect of, it's awesome, I loved it, not, yeah, this gigantic chunk of it is gonna suck, but you just gotta sit through it. How is that a recommendation? Ever? I don't understand that one at all. What author would you like to fight? There's not really any authors that I would be like, fisticuffs with. If I had to pick, GM Nair, because I get it, I feel like I could take him, and that's it. I don't have anything else with that. And also, I feel like with the relationship, we have this kind of weird, jokey dynamic. We could laugh it off really easily, because I don't fight. Although between the two of us, might come up to be some sort of weird sissy fight, which could also be amusing. So win-win. What character would you like to dropkick? Not so much a specific character so much as a character archetype, and that is, and again, is this a hot take? I can't be sure. The brooding bad boy. Fun fact, I dated a brooding bad boy. I was engaged to a brooding bad boy. We're talking tall, dark hair that hangs kind of shaggy with the dark jacket, riding a motorcycle bad boy. Did not have a good time. There's a reason that the second engagement was the one that took, and it opened my eyes to the entire concept of the brooding bad boy and how it's actually horrible. Like, when someone actually looks at you and says, "You're the only good thing in my life," it's not romantic in real life at all. It's terrifying. It's like anxiety inducing. Like, I'm sorry, I have to be your walking Xanax? No. So as a result of having that in real life, I don't want it in books anymore. Give me a soft boys. Give me adorable bearded dorks. Like, no, brooding bad boys. Not worth it. Never worth it. Never go for the brooding bad boy in real life. Ever. If GoodReads was a person, what would you bully them for? Okay, here's the thing. If GoodReads was a person, they would be that rare, annoying kind of person where when you texted them something and you had a typo in your text, and it was like a completely understandable typo, like it's like THR instead of THE, and it's obvious you mean the word the, they'd be the kind of person that gets confused and would have to ask you what you mean when it's like so obvious that like context clues. Just look at the text. What do you think I'm meaning to say? Look at like the keyboard if you have to. What do you think I'm saying? Because again, GoodReads search feature absolutely sucks. And if you get one letter wrong in a book title you're searching for, it has no idea what you're talking about. And it is aggravating as all get out. And the last one, if you could ban anything trivial from all books forever, what would it be? I don't know if this is trivial, and I'm really trying not to make this hot takes, but I would ban using the word feminist as a buzzword for book marketing. Not that I would ban like feminist books or books with feminist ideals. I'm on board with that. I'm not on board with the fact that we've watered down this word so much that no one totally understands what it means, and any book with a female protagonist tends to get this book slapped onto it, even if the female protagonist is 100% hashtag not like other girls and portrays all of the worst kinds of internalized misogyny. If she's strong, aka like a man, she'll get the feminist mark on her book, and it aggravates me. Like, this is an actual ideological thought processes in academic studies. This is not a freaking buzzword to sell books, and it aggravates me. But I think I'm also not necessarily in a hot take with that. I think a lot of other people have said similar things. In general, I feel like you really need to be careful before you throw that word on any book, because it immediately opens the book up to more scrutiny once you've started claiming that it is part of this greater academic thought tank, instead of just saying this is a book with a female protagonist that has a sword. So that is the Humbook tag. And okay, here's the thing. I have no idea who to tag, because Cait tagged so many people, and a lot of the ones are people I would have tagged. So if I think of anyone that they have not tagged to tag in this, I will pop it somewhere, like maybe in the description, which I know is a total cop-out, but seriously, there's like paragraphs of tags under the original video, and like most of them are the same circles as me. So regardless, if you want to do this tag, have a ball. If you agreed or disagreed or have thoughts and opinions on anything I've said about this tag, please let me know. I like discussions. Just, don't be rude about it, because I, again, don't get angry a lot. I like happy ranting when I'm talking about how much I love a book or how much a book ripped my heart out in a good way, and I hope to get back to that in the next video. But with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.